Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey, this is Colby from Wormwitch, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather. As always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to have Mr. Colby Hink. He's the guitarist of Wormwitch. Wormwitch will release Heaven That Dwells Within April 5th via Prosthetic Records. Heaven That Dwells is the follow-up to 2016's Disciple magazine year-end charting Strike Mortal Soil. So this is kind of a big follow-up from Wormwitch.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into this, good sir. How's it been working with Prosthetic Records so far?
It's been great. They bring a lot to the table as far as the kind of help that a label can offer a band. So it's been really good. We're good friends with them, and they've brought a lot to us.
Would you say this new album, Heaven That Dwells Within, is more darker than Strike Mortal Soil? If so, why more darker route than the previous?
I'd say it's more dark as far as the music goes. The lyrics, maybe not so much. Instrumentally speaking, we definitely wanted to go in a slightly more extreme direction. We wanted to pursue a bit of a more melodic metal kind of sound. The first record, there's a lot of punk influence, a lot of rock and roll stuff, which we still are big fans of, except we really wanted to pursue our interest in like 90s melodic death metal, that kind of thing, black metal, melodic black metal, in particular bands like Dissection and that sort of thing. So I think it definitely turned out a little more dark and brooding and a bit of a sinister sound to it for sure.
Wormwitch has released music video for Disciple of the Serpent Star. Was it hard to choose between the current set of songs on this album? Which one would be the first single and video? What did you want that first song to say for you guys, and especially for the ones who have not heard your music as of yet, if they just saw this one, what do you want them to get from it?
Yeah, it was pretty tricky deciding what song to put out first. We were fans of all of them. There's no particular song that we feel like stands out more than the others, but we thought that Disciple summed up the album in a nice tight package. It's got a nice structure to it. It's not the most adventurous song, but I think it gives a nice teaser into the album. It gives you a good look at what the album's going to sound like. And I think that the theme of the video was very suitable the theme of the song rather was very suitable for a video. So that was one we went with.
Any song standing out more to you than any right now, if possible, on this new album? I know it must be hard to choose between these songs every time you hear it, but I mean, do you have any that stand out for you possibly, Colby?
No, they're all pretty equal in my heart as far as just my preference for songs goes. We haven't toured the record yet, so I'm sure there's going to be a certain song that we prefer playing to others. Just certain songs are more fun to play guitar to on stage. So we'll probably figure that out on this upcoming tour.
What do you hope everyone takes away from the new album, or message you hope they hear while listening to it, or just any of Wormwitch's music in general? What do you hope they get from it?
That's a large question. I hope that they get just a general inspiration from it. We make music because of the bands that inspire us. So it would be nice to think that we could inspire other musicians in the same way. And we like to make music that promotes thought and promotes introspection, promotes a deeper look at the world around us. So if we can inspire that in our listeners, that'd be great.
Who did the artwork for the album?
The artwork is actually a very old painting. The painting is called The Lady of Shallot. It is painted by John William Waterhouse is the artist.
How did that come about for the artwork on this? What led you guys to say, okay, let's add this for the artwork?
Robin, our bassist and vocalist, is pretty much the guy that does all the visual stuff. I'm more the musical guy. He handles all the artwork and the layout and the design. And I think he's been wanting to use that painting as album art for a really long time. And when we were probably about halfway through this record, he brought that up as an example. We had a few different layouts, and we just felt like it really fit the sound. Having a painting like that with a mournful looking woman and the color palette, it seemed to fit really well. And it's relevant to his lyrical concepts as well. So we thought it was a great fit.
And now the album was mixed and mastered by V. Santora, who's worked with Triptychon and Samash. How was work with him on this?
It was good. We communicated mostly through email, so I don't really have a great feel for the guy, but like I wouldn't say that I know him personally too well because it was mostly business talk. But as far as working with him as producer, it went really smoothly. It was really positive, and we're really happy with his work. I'm a big fan of the stuff he's done beforehand, so it was cool to work with him.
Is this the first time you guys worked with him, or did you work with him on the previous one?
This is the first time we've worked with him, yeah.
Could you guys see him working on other albums with you all?
Yeah, I'd say so. We're happy with his work. We're the kind of guys that like to do something different every time, so I wouldn't be surprised if on the next record we went with somebody else just for the sake of going with somebody else, because we like to just always be trying new things. But we're really happy with the way the record sounds, so if we feel like we want to have a similar sound, he'd be the guy to do it for us.
How much growth musically have you seen this band and yourself go through the release of this new album from the previous album? Or has it just been more of a personal growth for each of you guys involved?
There's been a lot of growth since the last record. We put out that first record right after starting the band. We didn't really do a lot of growing into Wormwitch before the first record. We put out a demo and a little single, and then Prosthetic contacted us about doing a full length. So we put that record out real quick, not really knowing what we wanted the band to sound like. So there's a lot of different ideas, a lot of different sounds and influences getting thrown around. So it had an originality in that way, but it was kind of all over the place. So after putting out that record and touring quite a bit, we just kind of figured out where we wanted to go musically, and throughout the course of writing it, we definitely grew as songwriters for sure. I feel like the songs are just a little more well written from a technical composition perspective.
Do you do anything differently during the writing and recording process to maybe help keep your mind fresh and open, and to not let the music get stale or get boring? I know these are two concepts, but do you do anything differently possibly?
The writing process was similar as far as generally the song begins with me coming up with a skeleton for the song. Like I'll write the song front to back, just guitar, and then add some kind of demo drums to it just to get an idea for the feel. And then from that we'll add vocals and drums and the proper. We'll write the song in earnest after the skeleton's done. And that's how we did it on this new record as well. But we did it over a longer period of time, which was, I think, led to being able to perfect and refine things more. The recording process was very different because the first record we recorded, we just went into the studio, did it live off the floor, but we redubbed the guitars afterwards, so the drums and the bass and all that are just live. This record, we did everything separate. We did the drums separately, and then we did the guitars and the bass at my home studio here, so we had the luxury of time for that one.
Playing festivals with Danzig, Demore Bjor, and touring with Black Dahlia Murder, what have they taught you guys, or you've learned from those bands, seeing them live and plus touring with them? Have they given you any advice or anything possibly that you've added to your own band or set? As
far as advice goes, not a whole ton. Definitely got some good advice about guitar stuff from Suffocation. But, yeah, because Terrence is a great guitar player, and we had some good guitar talks on the road. But we learned a lot from them more in the way of just seeing what they do every night, seeing how they operate as bands, and seeing how they are on stage. Being able to watch a band that knows what they're doing every single night on stage, we hope that it rubs off. But really, we just see it every night and try to take away from it what we can. But it is pretty nebulous. It's hard to nail down a particular thing that these bands do right. But, like when you see a really established band that knows what they're doing, they have a certain presence on stage that we want to be able to achieve. So it's great to be able to tour with bands and try to figure out how to achieve that.
In your own opinion, what can fans expect at a show from Wormwitch who have not got to see you guys live as of yet? What are they going to get when they come out to see you?
hopefully a fair amount of energy. We're working on a new set right now. We're preparing for tour and trying to beef up the performance a little bit. So it should be energetic. It should be cohesive, and hopefully it'll be a good show.
We're living in a digital era of recording albums to get music out quicker, and plus now we got social media to reach out to more folks who have not got to hear you guys as of yet. Do you like this that we're living in now, possibly?
Yeah, it's got pluses and minuses for sure. It's I wouldn't say that I like it or that I dislike it. It's just a very different way to operate your band. You know, like, I don't know, everybody kind of understands the difficulties bands face as far as finances and with streaming and that kind of thing, and the way that people don't particularly buy records so much anymore. But I'm 23 years old. I grew up in that world, so it's I don't really know the industry the way it was in the 80s or the 90s or even the early 2000s. So it is what it is, and I think you just have to adapt as best as you can and not expect millions from record sales in 2019.
Very true. Yeah, I agree with you. In your own opinion, what does Wormwitch bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now, Colby? What does Wormwitch bring differently than anybody else, if anything?
It's hard to nail down. It's just kind of our own flavor. I hope that being artists as individuals gives our music an individual flavor, some genre blending in a way that maybe other bands don't entirely blend. I think that we've kind of gone in a bit of a medieval direction with this new record, just visually and spiritually. So that might not be something that's been done a whole ton. We have Robin, our vocalist that I said was in charge of a lot of the visuals, is a big fan of dungeon synth. So that whole kind of primitive medieval aesthetic has kind of worked its way into Wormwitch. So I don't see that too much in the metal world.
What made you want to become a musician, Colby? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, that's what I want to do right there?
Just seeing other bands as a kid and thinking that it was the coolest thing in the world. I remember seeing Metallica on TV as a kid, and I can't quite remember what it was. It was a live concert that happened to be on TV, and I just thought I couldn't really pin down why, but it just seemed so cool. It seemed like the greatest thing in the world, and that's all I want to do. So I just played guitar as much as I could, and here I am.
So what about local support? Being as heavy as you guys are, do you guys get a lot of support from venues and plus airplay, possibly?
Local airplay, yeah. There's this one radio station, Power Chord Radio, that plays us a fair bit. And we don't play locally all that much. Mostly it's when we're on tour. But the turnouts are always good. We got lots of friends that come out to the shows and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'd say it's good locally.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that Wormwitch gets support from, or your music even gets played in that area or country?
Not in particular. We haven't done a whole lot of touring globally. We've only toured North America. We haven't gotten out to Europe yet. So I'm hoping that our global following might increase as soon as we get out there. But things have been good in the U.S., I'd say. But we have a fair amount of support in California, which is good. If I have to pick one area.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up this album that comes out April the 5th. Heaven That Dwells Within. This is their follow-up album from the 2016's Strike Mortal Soil. Get out and check out Wormwitch. I believe you guys will dig them. I dig them. Colby, how can folks stay in touch with you guys? Buy some merchandise, tour dates, this new album, things like that. Keep up with you when you do go on tour. How can they do that?
We got Facebook. We got Instagram. Those are our two main ones. And, just Google Wormwitch and you'll find something for sure.
Before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Hey, this is Colby from Wormwitch, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, plus it has our YouTube link, and hopefully soon a Twitch link. Also get out and check out Wormwitch. Pick up their new album, Heaven That Dwells Within, April 5th via Prosthetic Records. Get out and check out their old album, too. Well, old albums, not really old. It's been like a year or two. Strike Mortal Soil, and give them a chance, folks. I believe you guys will dig them. So, Colby, thank you so much for doing the interview, and the best of luck to you guys.
Thank you.